episode. I'll just see. I still don't trust it, but that's fine. We'll figure that out. So how's everybody doing this week?
Good.
Good? Have you, Jeanette, have you got any further with your planning of your episodes or?
Well, a little bit. I got to go out and get people, so I'm going to an event on Thursday. And I talked to somebody whose husband died from Alzheimer's last year. So
Okay,
she's got some stories to share.
okay.
And then just kind of percolating how I'm going to present that. So I think I'm just going to become the storyteller, change the names so nobody knows who it is to have the
Mm-hmm.
story.
Okay. Okay. So you're planning to do mostly interview style then, right?
No, I'm going to tell the story.
Oh, okay, you're gonna tell the story. Okay, so you're just gonna go get. Yes, okay, that makes sense. I was just talking to somebody yesterday, and it's like, well, how can we do videos? And I'm like, there's so many ways to make videos. So it's one of those things that's easier to get your ideas written down first, plan everything out, and then you just run into maybe less technological issues. Even though
Oh,
that's what I do all day long, there's still yesterday my iPhone would not it's not letting me type anything. So I'm just like, now I've got to, go through that whole process. I'm trying to figure out why it doesn't work in this Florida humidity. It's probably screen protector, but I'll figure that out. So okay. And Dave, Mr. Rittenauer, I know you jumped into the class last week. What were your thoughts? Because we've known each other for a while, so were you planning on coming up with a YouTube channel and story ideas, or what exactly did you want to do going forward?
I'm still working on that part yet.
Okay.
I looked at a lot of things this week, but I really haven't got anything solidified yet as far as what the story would be.
Okay.
Um,
Because there's a lot of ways you can do it, right? You can say, hey, I want to film. I know one person I met in the last couple of months, and what they're doing is they're literally just filming nature, right? So they set up, they're just filming nature because they're like, well, I want to be creative, I want to build an audience, but I don't know if I have skills to show people. And I'm like, well, you know what? Just getting into the act of recording and getting comfortable with like a iPhone or an Android and a tripod and just start recording stuff because at the end of the day, you don't have to mark anything as public when you upload it to YouTube. You can leave it as unlisted or private, just so you're getting comfortable with A, recording something, and then B, actually uploading it and then seeing it live there on YouTube. Because it may be something that decide that you don't want to have public, and then or that you don't want up there anymore, then you're going to delete it. But just getting into the habit of recording and then fleshing out your ideas and then getting it uploaded, et cetera, et cetera. So
okay,
that's
when it's private or something like that, they don't actually steal that for anything else, do they?
this is the only challenge with doing any type of video is that at the end of the day, everybody's got screen capture software, so everything can be stolen. I I th- on when you build a YouTube account, you have the option of uploading a watermark. So I've not, I just started that with the YouTube class with the YouTube channel for this class, where I just made that simple I am YouTubeFamous.com logo. It's the logo that's the on the Facebook group. I just generated that with AI because I'm like, I just need something really basic, something really easy. And I've uploaded that as a watermark onto YouTube. So I need to go verify that all the 4 videos I've uploaded. So I've uploaded 6 videos, but I've only marked 4 as public so far. I just need to go verify that watermark is there. So at the end of the day, you're uploading videos to YouTube. Um, everything be everything can be copied, everything can be stolen. You get this with content creator, not content creators, but well, course creators, because I've spoken to, I have not created an online course before. I've purchased online courses before and gone through them, like David Ridenour, like with like Cardone stuff, like all that stuff can be copied and repurposed and used. And at the end of the day, if you're using it and it's getting enough traction, con- you know, somebody's gonna get upset if their stuff's being copied and reused on the internet. So everything can be copied, but I'm not too worried about it because at the end of the day, I want in my I don't really this class, my ideas, they're a it's my ideas are coming from a ton of people because I've watched a ton of YouTube monetization content. Um, I've been trained by a whole bunch of YouTubers, and at the end of the day, I'm just organizing this education and experience down into step by step because I meet a lot of people, interview a lot of podcasters, and I'm just finding that if we don't do step by step, a lot of people get lost in the noise. A lot of people get demotivated from doing it because there's a ton of steps in order to get your stuff to be seen. Because of course you have to let people know you're live, you have to let people know your content's out there. You're gonna get pushback where people signed up for text messages and then they don't want the text messages, and you're like, okay, fine, whatever. So at the end of the day, I'm not too worried about any of the stuff I put up online being copied. Yeah, if somebody's copying you, you're getting a little bit of traction because they like your stuff, right? They like your stuff.
It's a compliment.
Exactly, right? So
Yeah,
again, my ideas, I'm just grabbing ideas from mentors, coaches over the last 20 years. YouTube, I've spent I don't know, the last 4 years following YouTube monetization instructors and seeing how much it's a full-time, anybody making a considerable income off of it, it's a full-time job for them. But at the end of the day, we want you just to get traction with your content. We want you to be visible and be seen by new audiences that you don't already know. Because in anybody's business, you may have an idea of who your audience is, but until people start corresponding with you and talking with you, you're like, oh, I didn't know this person was following me, and then I didn't know this person was following me. But when we're hiding behind, traditional social medias like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn, um, if nobody's if nobody's commenting, if nobody's liking, you're like, is anybody really seeing my content? I find that with Facebook a lot, where I go to view something and I'm like, how was this posted 5 weeks ago and I did not see it? And I'm like, oh wait, I'm following X. How many people? How much content do I really see from that person? And if I'm not interacting with their content, Facebook's probably not showing it to me. But at the end of the day, that's okay because I'm really just using those platforms to um push my ideas out there and see who agrees with me.
too on Facebook. Yeah,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
No worries, no worries. So let me just see. Agreed. Okay. So good morning, Kristen. How are you doing?
I'm great.
Nice to see you. I think I'm in your state. So welcome. It's your first class. So I just want to ask, since we have a smaller group so far today, let me ask you this. Why are you here?
launching a channel and to keep
Perfect.
and plus keep going at it too, because I think it's good when you have others that you're working with to do this.
100%. 100%.
I live alone. I don't have anybody in my house, so it's times it's really hard to motivate. So if I know that I'm going to meet you guys on Saturday morning, I'm motivated to
Perfect.
get this done because I'm tired. I want to tell the stories because I don't think it's out there. It may be out there. I know I did find a channel, PBS channel that does tell stories. And then maybe I might ask if you if you could let me know what the analytics is on that one and what the audience is there. That might be helpful. But I may end up with a completely different audience. So
Exactly. And you might find, okay, why am I getting feedback here? And that's what I find is that, we want to come up with ideas, start shooting it, and then you might find that you're like, hey, these are not getting, you might find with the analytics that they're not getting any traction, but that's fine because as a storyteller, YouTuber, you may have to come up with a lot of different ideas and a lot of different angles to the content that you're making, because until we know who the audience is and what they're looking for and what type of comments and feedback they're giving to you, we're just making stuff that we want, the stories we want to tell, until we get feedback to tell more stories or a different type of story. And they're like, perfect, good. I like getting some feedback, and then you just go from there. So um it's okay.
now I did set up the watermark already on mine. I got that ready to go.
Perfect. That's why I was just asking how far you've gotten with the
Just
homework.
haven't
But
I just haven't filmed anything yet.
okay. We'll get there. I
Yeah.
was as I wasn't really sure how fast the class was gonna go, because I have a lot of people
Yeah.
who privately reach out to me, and I'm like, I'm not, I give them suggestions, and I don't follow up with them unless they come back saying, hey, I did this, I did this, I did this, and what's the next, feedback to give you.
Well, our plan here is David is going to be helping, so we're going to kind of learn together. And he wants to do the videoing, so he won't be videoing for a couple weeks, but I might do something on my own and put private into my channel just
Yeah.
within the next 2 weeks. And then I'm also going to start attending the conversation cafes in Calgary, so to be able to start connecting with people to get more stories. So and conversation cafes is where people go with their loved ones who have dementia. So it gives
Okay.
them a place to socialize.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. That's all that we want to do is just keep working on it a little bit until we're comfortable with getting, what you need to do on that creative process to start getting, the check marks, your list taken care of, because ideas, meeting people, having conversations, writing that down, practicing, recording, uploading is definitely a little bit of work. So, and being consistent doing it. Okay, we got a hand raised. Let's go.
I think that's me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I haven't done the homework yet because I just like literally
Oh,
looked at everything yesterday. I
that's okay.
kind of did it backwards. I already have some content up there.
Yes.
So I guess just start at the beginning and the ones you've already done, you've done.
Yeah, and it's just going to be ongoing. It's not like I'm not asking, I know some of the people who've been interested have done 150 episodes. They're doing 3 episodes a week already, and they're like, well, how do I get traction on this? And I'm like, we need to look at your, how much activity is going on with your YouTube channel, because I know a lot of people got a lot of great ideas, but sometimes they just need to be broken down into more granular and just be organized. So do season 1, 12, 13 episodes for one topic and then move on. So it really just depends on um, the stories you're sharing, how much detail we need in those, and just see what the analytics are when they come in, you know, how many subscribers you have, how many subscribers you have and how many views, and then look at the watch time, because we might just have to change it up. I know a lot of people get stuck when they have like a structured podcast. They get stuck with the intro, and sometimes the intro is the thing that's stopping your audience from actually watching your episodes. Because I know when I watch, for example, I got a ton of friends who didn't do a ton of lives on Facebook. And I'll go jump, you know, if I'm driving or in a parking lot or I've got a couple spare minutes, I will go jump in and watch that live. But generally, the intro throws me off. I want to jump in when they're talking, you know, actively having a conversation and talking. And if it's a topic I'm interested in, they've got my full attention. And if not, I'm dropped off, right? So the nice thing with having this stuff long term on YouTube is we will find out when we go through your analytics if something's if your videos have, you know, all your videos have an intro and the engagement is consistently dropping off, we know we got to change the intro or the music or that one guest you keep bringing on. Maybe we just need to change back, you know, there's got to be something to tweak it to get the engagement back on YouTube, and that's why we like using YouTube. So
Okay, thanks. I appreciate that, especially the
Oh,
one guest thing. I know people that as soon as they have somebody on, I'm like, yeah, we're not watching this one.
exactly. I look at channels with 1 million subscribers and no watch time, and I'm like, the audience, they're influencer, but their audience is really just following everything they do, and nobody's really watching their content. And I'm like, it's simple to fix. We just need to, you know, get a hold of their attention. Okay, go ahead, Julie. Oh, maybe I need to unmute. Okay.
Did you mute yourself? Okay, okay. I wanted to make the comment first up, kind of going back to the beginning. If you are on the text messaging, don't respond. And then there'll be no big thing of it. The idea of the text message is to send it out just before we go live. And so we're not going to be doing it multiple times during the week. We're just going to do it before we go live. And then you'll have the link to it. Second thing I wanted to say is whether you've made a whole bunch of videos or you're just starting, this is a process that I think we have to step back and look at as a growing opportunity and a really great way for us to start improving our brain functioning. Because let me step back. I was watching a series and it was about the brain. And it was talking about how when we do something all the time in a similar way, we get very complacent, we get very comfortable and very much in the known. However, to level up and become better, we have to push ourselves beyond that. So whether we have 100 videos, let's say, and no one's watching anything and we've had that experience, that means that all we need to do is change one thing to change the way we even perceive things. And that is right now, if you've been making content and struggling to get, you know, to totally, for whatever reason, whether it is, like Mike was saying, an intro, whether it's consistency, whether whatever it is to where you're struggling, having this group, this is what the group is for. So I do encourage you to share in the Facebook group your YouTube as soon as you start it, share it, and we'll all join each other and help support each other and start getting some views from each other. And we can give each other feedback as well, because if we are struggling on where we're losing interest, of each of us watching it, we can give each other feedback on that. Now, if you're brand new to this, this is also pushing you out of your comfort zone in getting consistent in making the content. And if that was your struggle before, this is going to put you in that unknown, because you don't know what the outcome is going to be. We want an outcome. We want an outcome of monetization, benefiting from making these videos. That is what we want. What we don't know. We don't know. We have to be very open to going with the flow of this process. So, and really taking it back to that, we make realistic, you know, realistic goals in the mind to keep us motivated, right? So we want to go beyond realistic to really motivate ourselves, but having things like when we see consistent growth, we're seeing more watch time, we're seeing more views, more likes, just going on that to keep us motivated, even if it's small steps. So keeping that in mind. So I just wanted to kind of step back a little bit and talk about that and what our hurdles are, because a lot of people have been making content and then stopped for whatever reason, or were they making it and not making it, etc. And then some of us are at the point where we're just starting and we've just got to get past whatever our judgments, issues are. So we have to kind of change the way we see this to be able to go forward with that. So that was kind of my comment of what I wanted to say. It was just with the text, we'll only text them out for the class, and think of this as a huge growth opportunity and what we can learn and the things around you that you can start to use to help you create content, different content, and also be willing to be flexible, because if you do try something different and you get a lot more traction, maybe making more things like that and being willing to try different things to see, think of it as an experiment. Okay, now I'll stop.
Okay. I think Kim has joined us. Are you here, Kim?
I'm here.
Okay, perfect. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Just got the cats. I don't, he's making a lot of noise, but I'm doing good.
That's okay. No, that's okay. I know I've got 3 dogs, so it's always fun when you got pets and trying to get ready
Yeah,
ready for meetings. How's your week been so far?
it's been good. It's been good. I posted, did I post three? Yeah, I posted, but that's my normal cadence anyway, but I did do the three, and I just didn't do the AI clips yet.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So, do I have generally you're posting about automation, or give us a little bit of an idea.
AI now.
Everybody's brand new to you. Everybody's brand new to your world. So just give us a little bit of an insight of what you've been posting about.
Yes, I post about AI and AI news and applied AI strategies and tips for businesses. So when I do a demo, usually that takes a little bit more effort because then I have to do a screen share and some editing and some rendering. But last week I just did just a video with just me. So that was a lot easier to produce and just put out. But I find that demos are really fun to watch. So maybe this week I might put out like one demo and 2 videos. But yeah, it's about me talking about latest news. I try to find things that are relevant, things that people are already looking for, and then make sure that everything is keyword rich and tagged and all that good stuff.
Yes, okay. So I would agree. That's this is why it's nice talking with different content creators to see what they're typically doing, because I see a lot of people when they're posting videos on the internet, it's either now it's a lot of AI generated stuff, or they just typed a script into software and the software made some type of animated video or whatever. A lot of talking head videos where people are, behind, the camera's facing them. What you do is interesting, because if you're sharing your screen and doing demos, that does take a lot more planning. I If I think about my first podcast, I do it yourself, it's literally a do it yourself tech support, and that
Mm.
was really it was a week to record a 30-minute episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I don't script anything. I just have some talking points and I just go. The thing
Yeah.
that takes the longest is the rendering because my GPU or CPU, like in the computer that I have, is pretty slow. So what I do is I have my second monitor and my video on 2 different feeds. I just put those in parallel so you kind of see me. I drop the
Hmm.
background. It's not perfect, like cut out. I don't really care, but you can kind of see me use the software in real time. But the amount of time it takes to do it is not really the actual creation of the thing. It's just waiting around forever for the video to finish. It sometimes just takes all day on my machine.
Yeah. No, that's what I was saying. It was like when because I scripted it, recorded it, screen shared it, edited it, sent it to the producer. It was just like it was a long time to I found a long time to do it. So but then of course I want to be technically accurate, of course, because I'm giving people, whatever. Anyway, yes, it's always, there's more time involved with things like that. But hey, Jeff, how are you doing? Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I was leading a meditation this morning,
No
so
worries.
sorry I'm late.
No worries. I know that a lot of people do meditation or yoga classes Saturday morning. I heard that from a few people, and I'm like, just join when you can. And if I get the Zoom recordings working, we'll have those at some point. And during the week, you can always message me about um your journey of writing down your ideas for your episodes and actually producing. Because at the end of the whole goal of this weekly masterclass is to get the ideas, get you writing down ideas and actually recording the videos and getting the videos uploaded, because that is generally the you can tell me you're writing down ideas, but if I don't actually see any progress, then I'm going to start getting worried about you a little bit. So um generally weekly, Jeff, what's your do you have any type of schedule, or how is your how do you plan out your content creation?
Well, we just did 14 new episodes. So I actually went through and scripted out the next 14 episodes for the podcast.
Perfect.
Spiritual Sex and Candy. By the way, if you see my shirt, it's, it always pays to advertise my podcast. You can go there. And so I went through and did 14 episodes. They're outlined, ready to go for our weekly show. I have about 5 or 6 that are ready for me to record for like my stuff, but I've been focusing more on shorts than that. So my shorts are because I do so much long form. I already do long form every week, so I've been focusing on shorts. So I have 5 more that are written and ready, and I just need to record. And I've been doing dailies pretty much.
Okay.
So
I fell off the daily train this week, but that's okay because we've been at Disney and I've been
yeah,
exhausted.
yeah, it's that yesterday's, for instance, I'm doing 30 Days of Pride, and
Okay.
yesterday's message, I'm like, I don't. Every time I went to record it, I started crying, and I'm like, I'm not. It's not. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to do that today. And I know it's authentic. If I did it, it's beautiful, and it would have been nice, and it would have been great. But I'm like, I couldn't read the words, and I'm like, so it was a post instead. It's all
Okay.
good,
Okay.
but things like that. So mostly this month, I think I've missed maybe 2 days that weren't video. There's been 30 days, or there's been 14 days of message, just not necessarily. It's been mixed where
Okay.
it.
Yeah. On Did I invite you to the Facebook group, Jeff?
Of course. Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. I'm just making sure because um share your group, share your channel name on the everybody who's in the Facebook group. If you've not, I'm sure everybody. I think there's like 39, 40 people in there, but I was spamming everybody yesterday to see what type of pushback I got from people. So um but just share your YouTube channels in there. So I know when because I'm gonna go personally. So I think I've subscribed to almost everybody's, but I subscribe to a lot of YouTube channels and I watch everybody's content. But of course, I just want to make sure that you're creating it so I can go back and watch it. Because I know I see your updates on Facebook sometimes, Jeff, that things have been canceled. And since we haven't really had a chat about your schedule for your content creation, I wasn't really sure just how much stuff you were developing. So
Yeah. So for me personally, I have the YouTube channel. I have my shorts. I'm working into doing a weekly, the 5-minute weekly one. Like
okay.
I said, I'm moving, and I have to build. I gotta do
Oh, I
keynote.
get it.
So
It's general homework for the ones who aren't actively creating because I hear this, put, I hear a lot of excuses all the time about content creation. I'm like, just get into, if you're not doing it, I'm telling you to do
yeah,
5 minutes weekly. But if you're already doing it, continue to do it. And then we want to know what your channels are so everybody can subscribe, everybody can watch your stuff and, support you in the journey. Because at the end of the day, we want more friends. We want more friends. We want a larger audience. And you don't know who needs to hear your message or your stories.
exactly. Exactly. But it was funny because I was like, yeah, I'm moving. Right now, I'm trying to document. I moved into a 1977 camper.
Yeah,
Um,
I saw your post about it. So
and
I was intrigued because we did that same thing last year when we went from a small trailer to a big trailer.
yeah,
So it's just, document your life because if we don't know what's going on with you, we're like, did you disappear? No.
I did. I did. No, I want to. I'm like, what was I thinking? Where I am not this person, but it's
We were not nomads until literally May of 2024. So we're just like, screw it. We're gonna just go on the road and people might think we're crazy, but at the end of the day, we're developing relationships with people across the globe. And what do? We help people make content about their business and get the message out and just show you ins and outs, ups and downs of life, because at the end of the day, life's a journey, right? So,
right. That's why we do Odysseys in my program. It's all Odysseys. It's all
yeah.
a journey.
Is Before we get too far, because I know our time's probably coming to an end, is anyone having any hurdles at the moment that we need to eliminate? Gonna check the chat and see if there's
I think because I do have to actually just pulled into my appointment. I think for me, I understand better what I should be doing. I have my long format videos and I'm kind of, do I throw in my other content in there? Like, I'm just a little confused, but I'll go through the homework, maybe get my questions answered and come back with questions because this is all foreign to me. Like I said, I started the show, threw it up there, and then went back to real estate to try to pay the bills. So,
oh no,
I want to come back to YouTube because it's really my passion. The content is
okay.
more of my passion than selling houses.
We should look at it because I'm like, realistically, I think real estate's huge on YouTube because everybody wants to see videos of houses and the location. We have a Dubai real estate channel, and it's a top viewed Dubai real estate channel right now. So I'm just like, hey, what are the top things search for on YouTube? And it's like, hey, I'm not in real estate, but it's real estate. So how do I build a channel about real estate in Dubai to see if I could, our goal is, hey, if we get some bites off this, I can send the traffic to, you know, so, somebody who can benefit from that in Dubai. So two, well, my wife is saying two channels. So your main one and a real, how many channels do you have? You've got two?
I've got two up and
You
running.
got two up and running, and I got a couple, I got dozens out there under different names. So testing different ideas. Um,
Okay, that's something I was wondering about too. But like I said, I'll do the homework. I'll catch up with everybody else somehow.
yeah,
And
just do the homework and then come in next Saturday and we will just see go join you I did send you the invite to the Facebook
I
group.
think I think so. I think so. I'll double check
Just put the
the
channel
Facebook.
in there and then I'll go review which channels are in there and then I'll just remind everybody to follow everyone just so we can, give you some feedback on it because at the end
Love
of the
that.
day, without any feedback, we're just going based on what we have in our own mind, right?
Okay, that sounds great. And it's every Saturday at 9 Eastern.
Yes, I wanted to make it simple, easy time on on a weekend where there was not too many distractions other than the gym, yoga, and meditation class.
Yeah, no, it works for me. Okay,
Okay,
guys, I just, like I said, I gotta run to this appointment, but thank you.
go
It's
ahead.
great to meet
Have yourself a
everybody.
go ahead. Go have an amazing day.
Thank you. Bye.
I don't think there's any more questions in here. And I just want to check the participants to see if I've missed anybody because I saw Kim and Jeff drop in. Okay. Let me look at my
Wanted-
note.
I wanted to also mention I did find a free script writing workshop, which I'm going to do. It's a couple of
Okay.
hours on Monday.
Okay.
So I'm just going to see, and she's got some free tools that she'll send out and stuff. So I'm going to check her out on Monday and see what I can learn there.
Okay. Keep us posted on how that goes.
Will do.
Okay, well, since we brought up scripts, there's many different ways to make scripts. There's a lot of AI tools out there. I personally really like writing, brainstorming. I'm always coming up with ideas. It's like the shower, it's like the light bulb moment. I always have the light bulb moment when I go for a shower because I'll be like, oh, hey, because it's not just script writing for me. It's like I have a technology problem to solve for a client. I can do A, B, C, D. Like I just come up with all these ideas and then I've got to flesh those ideas out and then present them and then they ask about budget or pricing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I got to come up with that. So my full-time job is literally coming up with ideas for people to solve their problems. So I'm always brainstorming and writing things out myself. And then so I wrote my podcast. I wrote my podcast before AI tools came out. So this is why it took me so long. It took me a week to make each episode because I was literally writing the script, reading it, recording it, and seeing how long everything was. I don't know if AI tools are really accurate when it comes to the length of the script because we've been playing with writing a lot of AI scripts for our YouTube channels. For any of the videos that we make, we're literally typing in ideas, putting it into ChatGPT or Grok or one of the other ones just to see what type of output you get from each of the AI tools, and then going and rewriting stuff just to make sure it sounds like me. You can do a lot of customization with the AI tools where you train them to actually use your words rather than the ones that they're just pulling from their dictionary, pretty much. So play with it and go, if there is courses, Jeanette, if there's courses out there, that's perfect because naturally as humans we're storytellers, but sometimes we need to just have some tools to help get the creative juices flowing. That's what I really find AI is great for, is just to um get you over writer's block because I may have some great ideas, but I'm like, I need these more organized, or I just need more fleshing out of the story because I don't want to I don't want to reuse the same words. I've got a lot of ideas and I just want everything organized in an easy to read manner. And then I'm like, okay, I need to make this, so sometimes you also may find that you need to make the, uh, language like a, grade 10 language. Depending on the audience, depending on videos, if you're making something science related, it might be more technical, or if it's something else, you're like, okay, this needs to be like able to be read and understood by a much younger audience. So you're just really practice writing, play with AI, have it write your scripts, reread them, make sure you're comfortable with them, time yourself out reading them because you also don't want to feel rushed when you're reading them because you want trying to fit them in. Like we're just giving you general homework to make a 5-minute video, but at the end of the day you might find that all your videos are 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and that's fine, that's great, but we just want to get into the practice of actually recording and uploading because it might take us months to figure out what your niche is, how to get you to the groove of writing and actually producing a lot of content. But all we really want is you to get into the practice of making one video per week and get that thing uploaded, mark it as private or unlisted, and then that way we know that, okay, you're doing the one video per week, and then you're working on your script writing and your idea, writing on your getting all your ideas documented, and then coming back to us every single week to say, hey, I want to do a series on this, or I want to do, come back, bounce it off all the people, your ideas off everybody in this group, and just figure out if you're happy with your trajectory of writing scripts, recording, uploading, and just getting comfortable with doing it, because things might change. And okay, I got a hand raised here, so you can talk.
I just want to make one other point that with using AI is if you are struggling for ideas, that can be a great tool to start giving you some ideas. So you can actually ask chat, if you're like whatever topic or theme or industry you're making your videos about, you can start asking it some questions and that can help generate some ideas as well. So it's like using my daughter she's anti-AI, artificial intelligence, and she uses it quite often. So it's kind of funny because she doesn't use it for her videos, is what she says, but she does use it a lot for other things. And so so it's like using that fine line with using artificial intelligence to stem us, but that we're going to take that information, even the suggestions, and then add our own uniqueness to it. So that is something I would highly recommend if you are struggling for some ideas, is play around, have a conversation with chat or whichever AI bot you want to use, and ask it like, well, what is this, what's the top of this, and then maybe kind of start narrowing it down, and then start thinking questions you can have, and then that'll help stem the ideas. If you don't have an idea, you can't make any scripts, right? So that was just something I wanted to add.
No, that's exactly, because not gonna it's like when I wrote book, like whenever I'm doing a book collaboration with somebody, I've got 3 books. We're number 4. We're waiting for number 4 and number 5 book to come out, where I'm not the main author of these books. I'm just a contributing author. I've done a chapter in a bunch of book collaborations, and you think, you've got this idea and you're like, hey, I've got a theme, I'm going to start writing. And they give you 5 or 6 months to write 1,000 words. And you're like, it can't be that challenging to write 1,000 words, or whatever the amount of words is, in 5 or 6 months. And then you write down your ideas, you start writing, and you either find you're way over time, you're way over your word count, and you got to cut half of it, or you're struggling to, you have like one topic, 5 ideas, and you're struggling to finish the story and connect all the points. And but yeah, no, it's literally, I'm like, you just get stuck in this creative loop where you're like, okay, it's like a frustration loop. You're like, hey, I've got these, I want to record, but what am I going to record? And then you flushing out your ideas. And then you're like, these topics don't even make sense, or they're not even the stories aren't even reconnected. Things don't go out always the way that you plan, and sometimes I've recorded a lot of I've recorded a ton of I've recorded a ton of content. Nothing's gone up yet, because I'm like, okay, I wanted things to be perfect, or things to flow in a certain way, and they didn't. And it's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna keep writing, making scripts, making videos, and just, you might get stuck in that situation where you're making a ton of stuff and you're like, wait, I've made a ton of stuff and I haven't actually uploaded it. So this group is to say, let's get together, whatever roadblocks we're running into, creative issues we're running into, tech issues we're running into, get into the group, bounce the ideas off of each other. AI is great for certain things. It got me over writer's block for for the last book I did. I had all my things written. I'm like, it's not flowing together. I literally copied the whole thing into Chat GPT, and I'm like, okay, can you just take this and reorganize it? And I'm like, okay, I just had to switch a couple paragraphs around and use a couple different words, and then it didn't sound as repetitive as I thought it sounded. So sometimes you just got to get out of your own way and let somebody else come in and say, hey, you've got most of the pieces here, and this is how we should organize it and go forward. So
That's a question.
is it in the chat then?
Let's show her to raise her hand.
Oh, okay.
But she doesn't know how to. And I assume she has a question.
Oh. Okay. Let's see. Jeanette, do you have a question? No?
How to raise her hand.
Did you find out how to raise a hand?
No, Jeanette had a problem.
Okay, sorry. I couldn't click on anything for a second there. So I'm like, am I having a tech issue again? Hopefully not. So
No, I see everybody doing the hand thing, and I'm like, where do I get it? So I was
there's
I
so
couldn't
many
find
with
it.
technology, there's so many options. I know because sometimes I'm on a meeting and I'm like, how can I raise my hand? I can't figure it out on the phone. So it's a little bit easier on the computer sometimes. But then again, I'll get on these calls with people to say, hey, why are you having an issue? And then they join the Zoom call with 4 different devices, and it gets really confusing. You're like, okay, technology is amazing, and we all get confused at how to use it. So
I do have something on the Zoom and record. And what I'm thinking here might be a problem is having it set up that people know they're being recorded when they enter the room, because you need to have everybody's permission, right, to be recorded. And if somebody doesn't hit the permission, maybe that's why it's not being recorded or something. I don't know. That's just a thought.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure because I set it to not auto record. I went in there and I had it was set to record, and then it keeps telling me that it's recording, but today is the first time it actually asked me where I wanted to record to. So, as I said,
Okay. Yeah.
sometimes you're gonna have issues with technology, right? Sometimes you're like, hey, this will come to technical issues happen, writer's block happens, all these things happen, and it's just, it's okay to be frustrated because I
Oh,
get frustrated.
the last couple of
I
weeks, I
get
don't recall it saying accept to be recorded. So that's what I was wondering if that was it, because in past meetings, I've had to accept before I entered the room.
I'll give you an example is when I was recording interviews in a professional podcast studio I had a series called Business Speed Dating where I was interviewing business owners to learn more about them and see how we could help them. We were making an interview for them so we could distribute it and get them some more traffic. And the fancier you get, the more tech issues you can possibly run into. I remember running into so many issues trying to get people to sit in front of microphones. When you're running a podcast studio, it it's like a 3 or 4 person job because there's multiple microphones, record buttons, cables, etc., etc. And I remember recording this amazing interview with one of my friends who's a realtor. And he's like, how did it go? And I'm like, none of the audio recorded. He's like, but we did sound checks. So I'm like, I know we did sound checks, but the audio did not record. He's like, you got to be kidding me. And I'm like, I'm not kidding you. I'm like, I got the video. And we had a great time in that podcast room for an hour and nothing recorded. Yet it shows me I have an audio track and the audio track was empty. And I was like, and then I was like, okay, now I have to have like 2 different sets of recording devices when I'm doing in person because I don't know if there's always gonna be frustrations, right? You're like, perfect, I've got this groove, I'm writing my episodes, I'm fleshing out my scripts, I'm practicing, I'm always looking at the camera when I'm recording or my tripods. Like you're like you'll start building these checklists of all these things you need to get done to record, make ideas, record and upload, and then something will happen and you get super frustrated and you'll get pissed off and you're like, I'm not doing this ever again. And then you're like, I can't have that mentality. I gotta keep making content, because the only way people are gonna you're going to build the audience and people are going to know that you exist and know you have something to share with them is if you keep going through the step, getting over all those frustrations and all those potholes that you run into. Because I've been self-employed for 2 decades. Why? Because I get frustrated by stuff, technology, customers, prices, taxes, every single day. Every single day I'm frustrated with something, and I'm like, unless I get over it, I'm not going to be successful. But then you have all this knowledge to share with people, because they're like, hey, how did you do this? And I'm like, it's a lot of grunt work, but when you realize it's just your own emotions that you need to get over and how you react to things, you get over them and you move on quicker. Hey, Jeff, do you have a good teleprompter program? I've played with many teleprompters, so hence the big sigh. So when I was sitting in a studio, it would literally be an iPhone or an iPad. And then I was using Google, Riverside. I switched to Riverside for a bit because it had teleprompter software in it. But then at the end of the day, I'm using multiple devices. I'm usually, when I'm doing a live, I got no script. I'm just going naturally and rambling. When I'm sitting in front of a computer, I'm usually using a tripod with a webcam, and I'll have an iPhone or an iPad on another mount, and I don't have a suggestion for a specific teleprompter, because I've used a bunch of different styles. And at the end of the day, all you need to remember is to whatever camera you're looking at, to make sure you've got tape on that camera so you're looking in the right place. Because I've made that mistake before, especially in a podcast studio with 2 or 3 cameras. I am always looking in the wrong spot, but that's fine because people just expect that from me now. They're like, you look like you're looking all over the place. And I'm like, when I am engaged in a conversation, I'm usually a really quiet person, soaking in the atmosphere, soaking in the conversation. And then when you let me speak, I might just be flailing my arm, talking with my arms, looking all over and being animated, and that's just my style. I may not look in one particular place, which um it's just me, and my audience just accepts that now. So, Jeff, do you use a teleprompter? We'll see. That was in the chat, so I'm not sure if we'll get a response from that. Hey,
Yeah,
there's
no,
Jeff.
sorry. I had to make coffee. Um,
No worries. I've only had one today so far, so
yeah, and I'm at my dad's house, so I had to go in. I had to make coffee. I don't have fire in here yet. I've been living in a
so
camper.
yeah, well, I know I live in a camper full time, so that's been the
Right.
challenge right now, getting back into podcasting. I recorded an AI avatar of myself to assist in me getting more content out there, but with the teleprompter, I've used so many different systems. Um, I just find that if I've got a script, I got to use a teleprompter, and if I'm just shooting, if I'm asking interview questions, I'm not using a teleprompter. But if I'm doing it do it yourself, or like what Kim would do where she's doing a tutorial or sharing her screen, I'm probably going to be using a teleprompter, because I want to keep concise and I don't want to go off on a tangent about something, because I'm going
Huh?
to go off on a tangent.
Yeah,
So,
I've tried like 3 of them so far. Like I couldn't even tell you which ones because I stopped using them and I stopped scripting myself for a long time. And then I realized lately that I come off often not looking like I know what I'm talking about because I make strange pauses and I loop around stories.
mhm.
So I have to, so I start scripting myself to be a little more concise, a little bit more direct.
That's why I thought I would make an AI avatar and just feed a script into it. And then if people can tell it's AI avatar, who cares, because everybody accepts it now. And then the personal lives will just be me and my, it's just, at the end of the day, your audience is either gonna like you and accept you for when you look tight and professional with a script versus and using a teleprompter. I think you can tell when people are using teleprompter because you can see their eyes going back and forth.
And it's funny because I've been scripting and I can't get the camera. Like, I try to use two devices and I've been doing this like two device thing lately, because I've tried multiple teleprompters and haven't liked them. So
Yep.
I'm like, okay, let me try this. And you could tell, I'm reading, and I'm like, and I'm okay. I'm almost okay with them telling that I'm reading, but I want them to still feel like I'm connecting with the camera well enough. And that's been my challenge, is like,
Mhm.
how do I have that connection still? Um, yeah, I admit to having notes, having that, like I said, I'm not, you know, um, I was doing bullets for a long time, but I don't do bullets. I I go off script. Like, I'll have a bullet there, and then I'll talk a whole nother conversation in that bullet, and then my stuff is like 5 minutes, and it's looped around, and I never really made my point.
Well, I think, as lo at the end of the day, we're we're not gonna care unless we know that we're monetized and something's affecting our monetization. We're in this group to collaborate, get together, and keep each other accountable to making content. As I said, I can tell myself, like, I can tell when somebody's reading from a teleprompter. I just found that I'm like, okay, in an organized show where I'm trying to get my content to a certain amount of time, I know I need to be to the point in reading a script that's timed, and that's why I was timing, timing, and practicing. And then I had to do my first season of my podcast, the do it yourself tech support one. I had to record so many voiceovers because even reading from a script, I realized I can't even read my own words. And that's probably I had somebody tell me the other day, they're like, "Oh, I watch your videos, but there's something wrong with you." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's called a learning disability, but thanks for pointing it out." Right? And I'm
Yeah,
like, "I don't care." My audience came to me and told me that they spotted something, and I was like, "Thank you for watching and thank you for that feedback, but I can't fix that." So, when I'm speaking to you, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, this is what we're doing." And if I go off on a tangent, I'm gonna come back, attempt to glue all those pieces of that tangent together. But, we know Michael Faber, and he brings that up all the time where he's like, I just love starting on something and doing an amazing story about my life, which you all seem to like. And he's like, my real goal at the end of that is to piece everything together. And if I didn't have an audience, you wouldn't all be here listening to me, right? So
right.
at the end of the day, if people don't like the content, well, they're not your people. If they think, I get feedback and I was like, okay, that's fine, okay.
Thank you. Thank you for watching
Hey,
well enough
exactly.
to get
Thank you for
feedback.
feedback. I am taking I'm not going to judge myself now and think about that feedback that you just gave to me. It was constructive criticism. I'm like, there's a reason. My eyes may not always look at the camera, and that's why I'm staring at the webcam right now because I know a lot of the time when I was recording myself, I was looking off to the side or checking to make sure that like everything's still in place in the studio or whatever. And I was like, okay, I gotta, tape on the camera lens, keep staring at the camera while you're talking. Kim says, yeah, well, of course, just admit you're using notes and bullet points, that's. And it's my wife is pointing out it's 9:59 and we need to go into the park. So thank you all for your time today, and I will end anybody got a last minute question for me before I close the Zoom?
Guys.
The homework as always is to get recording and get video. ideas written down and give one video a week uploaded. And if you want to mix in lives or shorts, go ahead and do that stuff. Once we're regularly recording content, I will go look at your YouTube channels and we will figure out what you're missing for traction and why the subscriber count's not growing like it should, and we'll start making suggestions at that point. So
Thank you very
Good luck.
much.
gotta go, 10 a.m. meeting. Yeah, I know, we all gotta go. So I will see you all next Saturday at 9 a.m. and we will keep updating the Facebook group during the week. And if you got, keep adding your channel names there and we'll just go through and review everything for everybody. Thank you so much for showing up today. Have a great day.
See ya.
See ya.